It's me and Nani here. We thought we'd do a little quick video because of all the snow that we've been getting here in Boise and the cold inversions. I've been getting a lot of messages from clients and friends saying, what do I do with the dog? They're driving me crazy. And we all know winter can be a tough time of year to get out and exercise because we just don't want to work in the snow and the cold. But it also can be hazardous if you have some health issues, or maybe you just have a really big dog that you're still working on leash manners with and it's not quite to the point where you're comfortable walking on snow and ice. All of these are understandable reasons to not want to be out in the weather. So we still need to give our dogs mental stimulation though, or they'll drive us up the wall, particularly if you have a high energy dog like Nani used to be when she was a puppy, or like my bird dog, or many of the other dogs that we have in town. One of the things I like to do this time of year is really take advantage of interactive toys, especially if you're not feeling very well. These are a very simple way to add mental stimulation, or what behaviorists call enrichment, to your dog's daily routine. So it's just, they have more going on from day to day. Without mental stimulation, dogs will find jobs for themselves, and usually they're jobs that you don't really want them to do, like barking out the window, chewing on things. Maybe they're just in general really hyper. Maybe you're seeing some more behavioral challenges between two individuals. A lot of it can just cause or be started because they haven't had enough physical and mental exercise. So interactive toys are the simplest way to add some stimulation. I have a variety here. So first we're going to start to talk a little bit about some of my favorite toys made by a brand called Starmark. This is called a magic mushroom for obvious reasons. All of these toys essentially you fill with some sort of treat or food, and they're designed to slowly dribble out the food, with the exception of this one and the Kong, and I'll get to those in a minute. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these toys with mostly kibble, but one or two treats just to get a good scent in there and have the dog really motivated to try and get to that treat. You don't need a ton of food in there, but if you want your dog stimulated and occupied for longer periods, then I like toys that have bigger food reserves or wells in them. So like this one can fit almost like a cup, maybe a cup and a half of food in here. And essentially what we do is, once you get your toy filled with treats or food, what happens is the toy wants to roll this way because of the shape, but the food only falls out if your dog knocks it top over bottom, like that. So this is a little bit more difficult of an interactive toy. I wouldn't start with this one, but I like this for really smart dogs, like my Border Collie and my Griffon. Another type of interactive toy that's on the market are these little, I call them bobble-lots, but they're basically like bowling pins. There's a couple of different brands that have slight variations on this, but they're weighted, and you've got a hole in the side. And essentially the dog is supposed to push them and they self-right themselves. These are a little easier. Maybe not appropriate for teeny tiny dogs, although my mom's mini dachshund has no problem figuring these out. The next type of interactive toy, this one's been pretty chewed up, but it's also a Starmark toy. It came with a soft rubber coating, which my dogs have peeled off, but the toy itself is still functional. This one is a little bit more complex. I'll open it up and show you the inside, but it has a series of, it's like a labyrinth in there, a series of compartments, and the food and treats have to work their way through the compartments before they finally exit. This is probably one of the more complex interactive toys because it takes a long time for the dogs to completely empty it because of all the compartments. But there are variations of this that are a lot more simple. So you could just get a simple egg-shaped toy. Starmark makes another purple one called the Busy Buddy. That's just simply an egg-shaped toy. And that's probably what I would start most dogs off with because it very easily rolls in any direction and the treats fall out a lot more freely. The other type of interactive toy that everyone should have is a Kong. So Kongs, if you're not familiar with them, have a hole on one side, well actually two sides, but one big hole. This has been in a water dish, so that's why it's wet. And they come in different densities of rubber. So this is black. It's one of the most dense ones. So if you have a really powerful chewer, get black. They have puppy-sized ones. You want to make sure that you're getting a toy that's appropriate for your dog's size. The puppy ones are obviously much less dense. An older dog can actually destroy them and break them apart, which you don't want. That's not very safe. The red ones are like a medium density, and then the pink and blue ones are supposed to be for puppies, and they're much softer. So not only are these great chew toys, but because of this one-sided hole, they're great for filling with different things. I like to fill them with peanut butter, but if your dog doesn't like peanut butter, you can use cheese and stick them in the microwave for a little bit to melt the cheese. A lot of people like to fill them with various soft foods and then they freeze them. You can also freeze them with cheese or peanut butter, and that way it lasts longer. It's like a popsicle, basically. These are great for crate training, or if you're gone and have a dog that tends to suffer from just a touch of separation anxiety, it gives your dog something to work on instead of worry about you being gone. Every dog owner should have a Kong, but especially if you have a puppy or a dog that you're having to crate train, or a dog with little anxiety issues. Everybody should have a Kong. So on that, there's another kind of good variation of a chew toy that I like. If your dog's not much of a chewer, which my dogs aren't really, I like these everlasting treat inserts because they're really hard and they do last a long time. They're designed to actually go in this rubber wheel that you see here, and they fit in so snugly. They're actually really hard for me to get in and out, but they're perfect for the dog. So this is another hard rubber, kind of like that Kong. I've had this for, 7 years, and it's not been destroyed, and I put peanut butter and smeared cheese and stuff in all these little slots too. But these really encourage dogs that are not big chewers to actually chew on them a little bit, and that can be good for their teeth. So most interactive toys are just going to play off of the concept of food engagement, basically. There are other ways to add enrichment to your dog's daily life if you can't quite make it out on a walk every day, or maybe just can't get your dog sufficient enough exercise, even if you are going out every day. So with the interactive toys, you can always work on basic obedience, but let's say you're getting kind of bored. This would be a great time to work on teaching tricks. Hi, Nani. Can you sit? Good girl. So Nani already knows her basic obedience really well, but if I want to challenge her a little bit, Nani, no, sit. Good girl. I'm gonna add some different variations, like what you see her doing here, down, sit, down, good girl, sit. Those are called doggy push-ups. They're exercises. You can do a series of down, sit, down, sit, down, sit, and add different rewards at different times to keep your dog guessing. I was going to show you some tricks. Tricks are a great way to add mental stimulation and keep pressing your dogs or challenging your dogs for new things. Nani, sit. Hey. Good girl. Can you wave? Wave at the camera. Good. Wave. Yes. Good job. So, tricks, working on basic obedience. Even if you can't go for a real walk, just working on obedience in the front yard is still much more beneficial than working in the house for a lot of dogs. My dogs, it doesn't really matter because they're used to working anywhere and anywhere. But if you have a dog that really struggles with paying attention to you on walks, winter could actually be one of the best times to work on this because you don't have to go very far. I can just work in the front yard and walk back and forth on the street. Just take 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minute sessions and work on basic obedience outside, where if I were to try and go for a whole walk to the dog park or to an area where there's a lot more activity, it would be too much for certain dogs. So just working on come, sit with the leash on your dog, back up to the end of your leash, have them stay while you drop treats, squeak toys, maybe while the mailman's coming by, or maybe you walk out to get the mail or bring in the trash. These little tiny things that we do every day can all be forms of enrichment for your dogs. So I said I would show you the inside of this Star Mark ball that they have going on here. That's pretty complex. So you can see when I open it up, there's a series of chambers in here. And like I said, the treats have to kind of work their way from chamber to chamber before they actually exit the toy. So when I go to fill this, and I'm just going to use kibble because Nani's getting older and she's getting a little pudgier. She doesn't really need as many treats, but I do want to make sure she's challenged while I'm feeling icky. So put this together, and Nani will demonstrate how this particular toy works. You can see that she can roll it any which way, and we get some food that falls out. This one takes a while to empty. Let's see, where's the other one? Janice hopefully will demonstrate this little magic mushroom here for us and how this works. She's not quite as interested in these toys as Nani is because she's figured them out. And I also just dumped all the food out. But when she finishes picking up the pieces, there you go. They, with this toy, have to learn to do more than just push it around. I'll see dogs pick it up like that and carry it away from pack members who might want to compete for food. Camus will actually take this one up to the top of the stairs at my parents' house and drop it down the stairs because she's learned she can get it to open up. There's a lot of different ways they can learn how to get to the food out. But the point is to challenge your dog and change it up. She's going to go to the bedroom so she can have it all to herself.